guys, happy Monday. Hope everyone is having a wonderful start to their week. It is still humid and I just looked outside and it's now currently raining and it's never going to be fall in Pennsylvania. It just isn't. We're going to go from end of summer to beginning of summer. I think we're going to skip winter as well. Just my luck. So, it is what it is. Still with the frizzy hair, it is never going to go away no matter what I do. If you have frizzy hair tricks, maybe some tips, pass them on to Homegirl because I feel like I've tried everything. I'm just going to shave my head off. That'll take care of it. Today I thought we would talk about concealers. I got received more questions about concealers in my time working with Sephora and Ulta than probably anything else, usually between that and foundation. And it's really just the coverage they're looking for, what color, making sure it's the right texture. There's so many brands I have it, which brand is the best one for what they need. So I'm going to answer some of those questions that I was asked on a daily basis, and I'm sure you've probably had these questions as well, so hopefully this is helpful for you. The first thing is people wanting to know, how do I find my right color of concealer? And you can do this for foundation. It's really super easy. All you have to do is, first thing, let me disclaim this. If you're going into a drugstore setting, do not open packages and try the concealer on. It is so expensive to make testers. That's mostly why you won't see drugstores or Target, those type of places, even Ulta's drugstore side, do not have testers for a reason. It's expensive and there's processes that have to go through when you just willy-nilly make a tester, so please don't make a tester. If it is on the high-end side, when you get into Ulta or even in Sephora's, ask somebody. They will be more than happy to make a tester for you as long as the product is there. Don't just make the testers. It's really frustrating and it can be a health hazard if you test it and put it back and somebody buys it. Like, that's disgusting. Don't do that. Ask for help when you need to make a tester, or if it's on the drugstore side, I can give you some thoughts on how to find it when you can't test it on your arm. But that's all you got to do is test it on your arm, but don't test it on the front side. You want to test it on this side. You do the same thing for foundation. This is because this side tends to match your face more than the other side of your arm, and when you put it on, it blends out. It's showing a little bit yellow on here, but everything in my room is yellow right now because it just started raining. But when I look at it in person, it is my correct color. This is a great guide in order to help you. Again, it can vary just a tiny bit, but there's variance in everything. Just because you're a light in one concealer does not mean you will be a light in the next one, so make sure you are testing them and not just assuming I'm a light in everything. And some of them I'm alabaster, some of them I can be N20, and some of them I'm N10. It just really depends, so make sure you are trying them out. If you are looking for them on the drugstore side, you can usually hold them up to your side and see, where is this opening? There it is. Again, it looks a little bit yellow, but I promise it's not. This will be, you should be able to eyeball it to make sure it matches your skin right here. If not, all of these places will let you return them. So if it's not the right one, sometimes you might have to try a time or two, or you can just buy two colors, return the one that doesn't work for you. Unless you're lazy like me, I never return it. I just hand it down to the next person. But don't open products. That is the easiest way to find it. A lot of people, they'll test it up here, and that's totally fine, but if you have makeup on and then you go and take the makeup off, it can skew your results a little bit, because once you take that makeup off, your skin does turn a little bit red, so it can make it that it doesn't look the right color. So I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you have no makeup on at all. Then yes, you can test this. I do right here. If you want to go lighter, that is fine. This will just give you a base of where to start. You can find your foundations the exact same way. Do 3 stripes. The one that blends into your skin is your color, and then you can adjust from there. So if you're wanting to contour with concealer, you can usually go 2 shades darker or a shade darker, depending on how dark you want your contour to be. And if you want to use it to highlight, you can go a shade lighter. I wouldn't recommend going too light, only because it can look really clowny and it just looks really awkward in pictures, so just be careful of that. But in a pinch, if you have makeup on, use your wrist. It's the easiest way to find it. Another thing to think about is if you go in one color, so let's say you're 10 in one color, 9 is the next color down. 9 is not automatically going to be the lightest color, next lightest color for you. You have to keep in mind if there's an N behind it, a P, there could be a C. Those are for neutral, neutral cool. They could be for warm, yellow. So you need to keep in mind whatever your undertone is to make sure that you are staying in the right undertone family, because 9 down could be, you could be 9 neutral or 10 neutral, 9 could be 9 cool. So you need to make sure you're aware of that as well, so that way you don't get one that is going to be completely the wrong color for you. So those are probably the biggest questions that we answer every single day when I was working there. So hopefully that helps out a tiny bit. For normal people, we are normal people. We have a normal lives. You do not need to do the highlighting and the contouring. It's ridiculous in all honesty. I do it, but that's because I really like to play in makeup and it's just fun for me to do. But my sister thinks it's a waste of time, and that's totally fine because she doesn't love makeup like I do, and that's totally okay. Usually you can go in your shade and you're totally fine. If you were trying to conceal something, so if you're trying to conceal dark circles, I have dark spots that I like to try and cover up. Anything like that, you want to stay in your shade. If you go lighter, it's just going to illuminate the problems and make them more prominent, since going down makes it brighter. So keep that in mind also. The next thing is when we talk about coverage. Do you want something light, something medium, something full, something that's buildable? I tend to go for a full coverage, but that is just me. If I'm just wearing mascara and a light foundation, I will put a light coverage of concealer on, if any at all. I only do it mostly just to cover up if I'm having dark circles. So those are some things to keep in mind when looking for concealers. I do have some that I'm going to share with you. These are probably my favorites. I've used them. Some of them look like they haven't been used because I had to get new ones. I ran out. Currently, I am using the Makeup Revolution. If you have ever tried the NARS Radiant Cream Concealer, but your butt hurt by the $30 price tag, this is an amazing dupe. It feels just like it. It's lightweight. It goes on effortlessly. It is full coverage. It lasts so long. I put my makeup on at 8 in the morning, and sometimes I don't take it off till 10 or 11 at night, and my concealer has not budged. I love this stuff. It does give you a matte finish. Again, I'm oily. I don't like things that give me luminous right here because I am oily underneath my eyes. It also comes in 24 colors, which is amazing. Most concealers don't. You might find them in 12 or 15 colors, so I like that this has a really wide shade range. That's probably the coolest thing I think about these newer brands that are coming out, is they do have wide shade ranges to fit everyone. I don't know, people call them their ride or dies. This is the one I always just buy consistently. It's the Naked Skin from Urban Decay. It doesn't have as wide of a shade range. I think there's 14 or 15 colors. So that's the only thing I don't love about it. But this does have buildable coverage. So it goes on, I think it's a light coverage. When I was looking on the internet, it says it's a medium to full. I do not think this is a medium, but it is buildable, so I can see how it can go to full, but I use this on my light coverage days. What I love about this is it also has skincare properties in it. Woo! So it works really well if you're trying to fix, if you have fine lines and wrinkles, because it has peptides to help with that. It also helps to retain moisture, so it's perfect for going into the winter when you start getting really dehydrated because it's so cold out. This will help retain moisture in your eyes, which keeps them looking plump and keeps the dark circles at bay. This is the MAC Pro Longwear. I was reading reviews on this, and this thing is full coverage, and they were just saying it's not super full coverage. This thing is full coverage. Like, you gotta get a beauty blender and you gotta blend this stuff out pretty good. But I love this for the days that I do need something more full coverage. What's also cool about this is it's water resistant. So I have super watery eyes, and my concealer does tend to run, even if I set it. So if I'm having a really bad time with my allergies, I can use this and it stays put all day long. It comes in a ton of colors, which is awesome, but it's also great to cover up the dark spots and the dark circles. So if you are somebody who has that problem, this one will cover everything up. You can hide everything behind that one. This is probably my favorite one, and I had to go buy another one because I was out of it. They're like $3. It's LA Girl. It's the Pro Concealer. They come in 28 shades, which is awesome. A lot of times when people are wanting to learn to cream contour for the first time, I recommend this as opposed to buying a cream contour palette because one, they're super cheap and they have such a wide range of colors. So that way, if you're like cream contouring isn't for me, you have only spent $3. This is fantastic. It does have 28 shades. I think I mentioned that, but I can't remember. So it has a really wide shade range, so it has something for everybody. Super lightweight. It also is long wearing. I don't think it says on there, but I have wore this for up to 16 to 18 hours on long days, and it stays put, does not budge. It doesn't say that it's water resistant, but I can also wear this on the days that I'm having a really hard time with my allergies, and it does not move on me. No creasing. I do set all of my concealers with a powder, but again, it's because my eyes water so badly that I have to, and I do it to control oil. So keep that in mind. This is like an oldie but a goodie. This is the Instant Age Rewind. It's from, who makes this? Maybelline. I hadn't used this in forever and had to go pick another one up. This is great because, again, it does have skincare properties in it, so it will help with fine lines and wrinkles, but also is full coverage enough that it will help with dark circles to conceal them. It's a tiny bit heavy, so you do have to play with it a little bit, and I prefer to blend all these out with a beauty blender or a Morphe sponge or the Real Techniques ones. They're all the same. The sponges are all the same at the end of the day. I don't use a brush for it because I'm just not that talented to blend it out with a brush. I always get streaks in it. I just have a better time blending concealers out with a blender. So I do that. I do set this. I do have a little creasing with it from time to time, but if you're fine with that, then it's nothing that I couldn't live without. The last one I'm going to talk about is, it is my least favorite concealer I think I've ever used in my entire life, but it was the #1 requested concealer when I worked at Ulta, and that is the Shape Tape. Shape Tape has 30 shades, which is awesome. I do appreciate that. This thing is so full coverage that it takes me forever to blend it out. I have blended it out with a beauty blender, the Morphe sponge, and the Real Techniques sponge, and it still takes me forever to blend this thing out. I have the worst time with it. It is so full coverage. I don't know why anybody needs this full of coverage unless you are literally It's great if you are trying to cover up cystic acne, and that is the only thing I can think of that would be great for this because of the coverage on it. It is lightweight and it's vegan, or it's cruelty-free. I don't think it's vegan. It is cruelty-free, which is nice, but you can use this to contour and highlight as well. But again, I've tried to contour with it. I do have a darker shade somewhere around here, and I just have the worst time trying to blend these out. I just think these are way too full coverage for everyday wearing. I see no reason why anybody needs it, but everybody loves it, and it's the #1 requested concealer. So I did want to talk about it. It does have a matte finish, which is nice, and I do set it with a powder, but when I do set it with a powder, I notice that it gets just a tiny bit heavy. So take it as you will. But those are my favorite concealers. There's tons of great concealers. Every brand has one at this point, but you know, it's just trial and error. You've got to play around with them and play with the different textures and find out which one is going to work best for you. So hopefully this answers some of your questions. And if you have more, like I said, just let me know. And next time we're going to talk about foundation, because everybody needs help finding foundation. And if you think you can buy foundation online, you can't. I've tried to do it at least 87 times and I always get the wrong color, but I'm going to keep doing it. So if you do it, I understand. It's okay. I don't judge you. Hope everyone has a great night. Talk to you soon. Bye.